Here we go, here we go, here we go. Welcome one and all. Welcome to the Breadcrumbs Project, where we follow breadcrumbs, big and small, and some of the breadcrumbs pan out to something. Some don't lead to anything, and that's when you have to make a choice as an investigator to cease that line of inquiry and focus your resources on others. And that's something that we just make those decisions as we go along an investigation. And sometimes a cold trail can get warm again. So you just never try to close your mind to anything, but you do have to have investigations move forward, and things that pique your curiosity should be further investigated. For example, why isn't there any color on my walls? Because my lights aren't on. Let me turn those lights on. Now, there we go. Some color, a little bit of texture, and voila. Good evening, good afternoon from Spain, everyone. Most of y'all. And Tabitha, hello, yes. Or worse. Yeah, I mean, the mainstream media has taken the trust of the American people and sold it down the river for shekels. They've lied, and they've taken dirty money from people that hate us, and they've come to hate us as a country and celebrate the destruction that is occurring. They dare call the people that are destroying property and taking lives and acting the fool as protesters. No, these are terrorists. These are terrorists, and these are rioters, but more than all, they're terrorists. Why do I say something like that? Because you have to think about it for a minute. Okay, these are people that want to bypass the process that we've established for changing policy and changing law, and that's the elected process. All right, that's the process of Robert's Rules of Order, of having committees, of having groups of citizens that represent your citizenry. You have mayors, you have councilmen, you have a structure that some of these people don't like. So they're destroying life and property to get their way. That's not protest. That's terrorism. And they have it down to terror, because if you don't support their cause, if you don't show their propaganda in the window of your business, your windows are going to be destroyed of your business. Your business is going to be attacked. It's going to be undermined. That's Gestapo stuff, man. That's Stalingrad stuff. That is terrorism. That is intimidating you to support their cause, whatever it is. No. It's not what we do here in America. We are a republic, and we base our republic through a democratic state at different levels. And if you don't like something, then you go to the ballot box and you seek change, because it's the majority of citizens that establish policy for whatever that area is. Just because you're a few people and you don't like it, you're a few young, stinky people that don't have careers and don't bathe. And the best thing you can do for society is spray paint stuff on walls and streets. That's supposed to inspire me as a citizen to support your disgusting cause. You're a bunch of criminals that want to take away the rights of citizens and defund police. You're a cancer telling the body to stop defending itself because you're a cancer and you have the right to exist. Man, our educational system in the United States of America has destroyed so many minds and so many souls, so many lost souls. So obviously our democratic institutions are failing. Many of the mayors and governors of so many cities are failing, and what's worse is the people that are part of this failure are the same people that are running Washington, D.C. Yep, that's exactly right, Tabitha. Yeah, I mean, if you do something in an artistic way and are invited to participate, great. But if it's public property and you start tagging it and spray painting it, that's destruction of property. You're not adding anything. You're only interpreting what you deem as beautiful. But most of society does not look at spray paint art as attractive at all. Quite the opposite. It's an eyesore for most people. And yeah, they're running it to the ground, Tabitha. They're running it to the ground, and it's done. It is done. I mean, it's, the damage is done. It's going to keep on being done until the country figures out how to reverse this damage and how to fix it. And I hate to say it, re-educate a bunch of uneducated people. Just have no idea. I don't know if it's possible. I just don't know. I don't know. That's why you have to pick a side, and either you're with these people that are destroying the country, or you're with the people that are trying to save the country, and you do that by your best means necessary. I find that I want to save a great country, and we'll find a path forward doing so. What we have been doing is talking about the Q, and this is the Q that we were looking at. And the Q started as an information campaign trying to get the truth out to as many people as possible as to the corruption and the deep state and what was being perpetrated by the FBI and Department of Justice in spying on President Trump and just so many aspects of the horrible corrupt state. So this entity called the Q was created, and it is, I don't know if the actual Q time has ended or if it's continuing. Sorry guys, got to make an adjustment here on my headphone. I don't have a lot of staff to work with getting all these things adjusted properly, so kind of have to do it myself and on the fly. And so the Q's, as best as I can tell, has been created to oh yeah, it's much better, to help the United States save itself. And what's happened through this is two huge things. First of all, a means of disseminating information that was hidden by so many layers of deep state bureaucracy, and then so many layers of mainstream media lying to Americans. And it's not that they lie in diabolical purposes. Here is the quote that I just love, and and give credit to the person that came up with it, Ginger Brigade 1 this is the Twitters. So she is Ginger at Ginger Brigade 1 and the number 1, and she came up with a brilliant quote. A villain never thinks he's a villain. He is the hero of his own story. And that's what we have festering all throughout DC are these people who think they're heroes, but they're heroes of their own story. Just like people that do spray paintings of public buildings and public places. They think they're doing great. They think they're doing wonderful art. When passersby, but 99.9% of passersby are going, oh man, why do they have to do graffiti? Why do they graffiti this? Why do they graffiti the train? Why do they graffiti anything? It's a visual eyesore. Yeah, the truth is not for everybody, Tabitha. The truth is not for everybody, and so, yeah, when you get into a dialectic, and you present both sides, and both sides try to reason together instead of trying to convince the other side of your side. Although that's what I do here, but I have to do it because I'm a host, and I like to follow good, solid breadcrumbs. And one of the things that Q has done has established so many breadcrumbs for people to follow in different ways. First of all, by the Q information that's coming out. And then second, by the QAnons that are out there. People that are anonymous and sharing information that they know from the inside, whether it's inside Hollywood for all the corruption and disgusting lifestyles that are supported there, as we can tell by Harvey Weinstein and by Jeffrey Epstein. By all accounts, man, Jeffrey Epstein is the one that controlled our government for many years. He has so much power that his murder is being covered up at the highest and lowest levels, at all levels. The murder of Jeffrey Epstein is a cover-up. And so, that's why I have no problem anymore being a Q warrior. As long as I can see that level of corruption, where the Jeffrey Epstein and all of his shenanigans are being covered up, then our government is corrupt and broken at the federal level, at the highest level. And for many of us, we just don't have faith in that system anymore. We do have faith in each other. We do have faith in people that are able to reason and to think and to come together in a democratic process. I have faith in those people. The people that are in D.C., I just don't have any faith in it at all. Yeah, I support Washington, D.C. becoming a state. At the same time, all those federal agencies are out of there. Every single federal agency, not one stays in Washington, D.C., Virginia, or the Potomac area, except for some military installations. Major bases, Pentagon, out of there. Pentagon is distributed through all 50 states. The centralization of authority has been the worst thing that ever happened to the government, and that was what the Founding Fathers desperately did not want to happen. That's why they made sure that District of Columbia was not a state, did not have states' voting rights, because they understood corruption clearly. And yet we've fallen for it and encourage it. And so the Q Army, and it's not Q Army, the Q Militia, people are loosely associated on the idea of the Constitution. and nothing more, nothing less. And so we, as it says right here next to my head, along the side there, everything you've learned in school is wrong. And what we're moving to today, in an area that I'm very familiar with, we're coming out of the Q circle, which we worked through yesterday. The only thing that I have a question on is the tribunals. Everything in here, I am certainly very comfortable with. Where we go one, we go all. I had a little trouble with that today. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Breadcrumbs Project. Good to have you here. And please hit the like button if you haven't already. And join the Breadcrumbs Project. Tabitha, thankfully, is in the chat room, keeping an eye on me and just dropping gems as she always does. And it's great to have you in there, Tabitha. If you want to join Tabitha in the chat room, please join the Breadcrumbs Project. $1.99 a month is pittance to pay for being involved in a project and lending your voice to the chat. The only reason that we have the chat behind a paywall is just to keep the people that are in there safe to comment, safe to think, and not being attacked for their thoughts and what they have to say. So I've just enjoyed the conversation with Tabitha as she gets to share her thoughts uninterrupted, which is great. So thank you, Tabitha. And coming out of the Q circle and the Anons, I'm not an Anon, I'm here visible, but all the Anons that are out there in their profession, lending their information and their knowledge, which is what I do, which is what I continue to do, is what this project does and will continue to do successfully. So I am part of that Q militia. I gave my oath of office when I was 18 as a soldier to protect and defend, and I've never given up that oath. I am no longer wear the uniform, but I'm still just as much of a protector of America today as I was the day that I raised my hand and swore allegiance to the flag, to the Constitution, and to the United States of America. So I stand with the Q. I stand with the Patriots. All right, coming out of the Q, we go into this area right here called Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe, I'm so glad that it is in here in the Q map. I am happy if 80% of the Q is correct and I disagree with about 20% of it. I am a Q follower. Just as simple as that. Because I certainly disagree with 80% of Antifa and Black Lives Matter and support 20% of what they say, think, and do. I'm never going to disagree with anybody 100%, and I'm not going to agree with everybody 100%. Yeah, I smell the sulfur. Absolutely, I smell the sulfur. So with Göbekli Tepe, and pull up some information. When I saw Göbekli Tepe and the architecture of Göbekli Tepe, then I knew everything that was being told to us was an absolute lie as far as history goes. and as far as archaeology goes, and the order of ages. This image that I'm going to show you, hopefully, let this guy load. It takes a little while. All right, so this is Turkey. Most of y'all know where Istanbul, Turkey is, Constantinople. But a lot of folks really don't understand the size and scope of Turkey. It's a very, very, very large country. And the lower part of Turkey is the vast size of the country. Ankara is the capital of Turkey, not Istanbul. And Ankara is way south in the central of Turkey. And you can think of that southern part of Turkey in references to the city of Troy and the Homer Odyssey and the Trojan horse. Well, that happened in that southern part of Turkey. We found the city of Troy. But further down south and east of Turkey, close to Mount Ararat, where it is said that that Noah's Ark landed, there is a very ancient, what some people call a temple, but it is clearly not that. It is clearly something far more complex and sophisticated. Now, the pillars that these people are looking at, of course, are reproductions, and I'll show you the current pillars as they stand, but they are life-size and are represented as they were, as they stood over 11,000 years ago. And they are older than 11,500 years because they were buried purposefully. The items that these things represent, these were buried purposefully 11,500 years ago, and were able to date carbon datable material in the rubble that buried this site, and they buried it as it looks like this. Now, if you see the size of the people and the sophistication, the absolute sophistication of the bas relief of these incredible pillars that represent beings, because these are arms. So the large head and the large size of these two stelas represent two beings with very large heads that are very large and that have very big arms and that wear belts. So look at the size of an average between 5.5 6 foot person, and then these carved representations. Notice how they're balanced. Notice how well carved they are, and the attention to detail. And this is way before Egypt, way before anything of record that we have. So the timeline of 5,000 years ago, the timeline of everything happening 4,000 years ago, it's just nonsense. And that the pyramids are 4,500 years old and the Sphinx is 6,000 years old is just utter nonsense. Because Göbekli Tepe is incredibly sophisticated, is 11,500 years old, not even minimum, I mean, it's way older than that. And this is represents something incredibly sophisticated. You have two beings in the middle, and then the surrounding of beings with the same size and head, maybe even representing them sitting down and these standing up. And it's obvious that people were brought in here to be educated and to be to go through an educational process through whoever was running this, and using these statues as representations of the great beings, giving the education to the original group of people that they did educate. And I mean, this looks like a giant room. And then if we go and look at the actual archaeological site for you guys to look at. You can do it. All right. So, this is a good way to, let's just look at the, and it's going to take a minute to load, I'm sorry. We're going to nationalgeographic.com because they have great graphics and representations of Göbekli Tepe. Some of it nonsense, and some of it absolutely legitimate. So this, if we look at the inside of this, that's legitimate. If you look on the outside, that is utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. People dressed in leather animal skin did not build such a sophisticated facility, and did not construct such complex statues. Everything is in Spanish. That's popping up because I am in Spain. So, so the inside of this, if you look at it, I have no problem saying it represents the inside of a meeting room or even a spaceship. Yeah, I know. This could very well represent a spaceship that had landed long ago, and had a magnificent entrance, and then people came in back then, and were brought into this impressive space. You can kind of think of it as a haunted house, because a haunted house, you could go straight to the thing in the haunted house and walk out, but no, they take you through a whole weaving and on a journey through many little corridors in just one little room, so you experience and get disoriented and get into the haunted house and get yourself completely lost, and your senses are just so awake. Yeah, we're all lizards. I'm not a lizard, and I'm not a non-playable character. I'm not an NPC either. Tabitha, good points. Thank you so much. So, so this could easily represent a spaceship or a flying saucer, UFO, or whatever you want to refer to them as. And you can't laugh anymore, because the federal government is just as worried about UFOs as the rest of society has been for the last 50 to 100 years, if not forever, as long as these things have been around and we've been seeing them and have represented them in different ways. But after these people, after the aliens left, they left behind Göbekli Tepe. They worked the humans to build these incredible statues and facility in a way that they're familiar with, and that then they could teach people and reproduce the process of learn, teach, of education. And then whenever a group of people are ready and well educated, they send them off into different parts of the world. And that's probably why you see stone circles. The stone circles are representations of these, frankly, irreproducible
Because
statues.
if you only believe in God, there are various
then.
explanations of God.
So, if you took somebody out of the
Yeah.
Explanation given by Jew is different. Explanation by Christian is different.
the peninsula
Explanation by
state,
Hindu is different. The explanation given by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him,
They
is the last
couldn't
and final
reproduce the
revelation,
Pacific,
and he has
so
been
they
prophesied
placed
in all the
circles.
scriptures.
Have certain
He's been
markers
prophesied
where
in
they
the
were
Christian of
supposed to have,
the scriptures of the Jews.
know
He's
that
been prophesied in the
was
Christian of
happening
the scriptures of the Christian.
And
He's been
so,
prophesied in the scriptures of the Hindus,
those
all
markers,
these scriptures say
around the circle,
that the
let them know what was happening when, what was important to pay attention to, which comets were coming, and if they were, if they went through these constellations, as Partha talks about, then to the shaman, the priest, the
last and final messenger to come
wizard,
is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So by believing in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you're believing in all the other religions also, that the last and final messenger is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
So can I conclude that
Druids.
if I become a
Druids.
Muslim,
If,
I can
Druids
no,
to the land. the Druids
I'm
to the
also a
stars.
Christian.
The Druids had their stone circles.
Not you are a Christian, you believe in Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Because Jesus Christ never teach Christianity, sister. Jesus Christ himself did not call himself a Christian, do you know that?
Passed on throughout
Yeah,
the world.
I know.
So why should you call? So if you become a Muslim, you believe in all the messengers, yes.
I cannot express to you.
And you believe in one true God, and you submit your will to God if you become a Muslim.
Okay.
And you have to respect all the
After the Great
messengers.
Flood,
Abraham,
this is where
Moses,
humanity
Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon them all.
was restarted.
Okay.
So would you like to
This
become a
is,
Muslim?
in the same area of
Not yet.
Gautama was sitting in a large congregation of people one morning. A man arrived
where humanity
and stood there in the shadows. This man is a
was
great
rebooted.
devotee. He's a devotee of Rama. You heard of Rama?
Noah
Rama is one of the most popular
and
deities
the Noah
in
tradition
India.
goes
If you do
around
not already know
all
this,
of
in
humanity.
India we have 36 million
Different.
gods and goddesses.
And it all
It's a very
comes from
rich
the
country.
Sumerian story, basically. Because the Sumerians,
He is a great devotee
again,
of
this is
Rama.
something that is 12,000 years old.
The devotees
Well,
in
I'll
India,
give them 8 to 10,000 years old.
not everybody,
But look
but
at
those who
the,
take this
the
seriously,
deep V-neck.
they will not utter
this
any
is
other
people that are
word
supposed to be
than the name of
with
God that they
loincloths.
believe in.
Again, notice the position of the arms.
So if they want you to come, they'll say Ram Ram. If they want you to go, Ram Ram. If they want something, Ram Ram.
And go back
No
to
other word but Ram.
9,000 to
The clothes are all printed
7,500,
Ram Ram, they utter only
BC.
Ram Ram, they
So
live
that's
Ram
before
Ram.
Christ, so you add your 2,000
They devoted their whole life to
you
God.
have, between
You're
11,000
smart, you're not like
and
that.
9,500 BC.
You kept God like
But they've
insurance.
gotten a little bit older.
Just in case something goes wrong, I have also paid
High
my premium.
relief carving. And
Everything that you need to do, you do it yourself.
this
You kept
is the
God like
actual way
insurance. You're smart.
the site looks
But
now.
this man invested his whole life in God. Total.
The burial rubble that you see in there,
Age is
carefully
passing away.
placed. The
Little
damage
doubt has
to,
come.
to the
So
stela
little
happened
doubt, he
because
knows there is
of
God.
the,
Just a
of the,
little doubt. Now there is an enlightened being here, he wants to
earthquake
confirm.
activity that has
But
happened
after
there over the last
Being a
11,000 years.
well-known devotee
So,
for a long time, because he did not
the
just go to
stelas,
the temple, he
statues,
built many
were
temples.
damaged only by that.
At this stage in his life,
not anything else.
how to ask whether there is God or not
And all
now.
the rubble that you see
So
in
he
there,
came
again,
early
it was
morning,
purposely
stood in the
placed.
shadows there
Temples weren't
and
destroyed,
asked this
then
inevitable
rebuilt.
question, is there
Everything was
God?
as lovingly
Gautama
maintained
looked at
as
the man
possible,
and gave
when
a
it was-
clear,
when it was buried.
emphatic no.
And so this changes the
Here,
story
this large congregation of disciples,
mankind.
this has always been a struggle in their mind. Is there
If
God
you
or
were
no
able to
God? Is there
build
God or no God? Oof,
stuff like this
one big relief.
11,000 years ago,
Whenever
we were
they
able
ask
to
such a
carve
question to Gautama,
complex
he just becomes silent. He
three-dimensional
doesn't say anything.
bas relief
For
carvings
the first time, he gave a
and
clear
balance
answer: no God.
these massive
Joy
stones.
spread across the congregation.
And again, carve the massive
Just the
stones.
struggle,
That
is there
wasn't
God or
carved
no
with
God is
rock.
over. The enlightened one has declared there is no God.
wasn't carved
The
with-
message spread across the town.
With basalt,
Through the day, celebrations happened
that metal was used.
because just imagine the freedom
Some kind of metal
of
was
it.
used.
No God
Build that,
means
to carve it, and to...
nobody sitting up there keeping accounts of what you did and what you did not do to punish you, burn you in hell, or do this or
that
that.
was not done by a
Life is
primitive man.
completely yours.
So,
So through the day,
primitive
celebrations
quote,
happen.
man,
Everybody
the help
is in great
of-
joy.
something.
The evening, once again, the congregation is sitting.
This Göbekli
Another man came.
learning facility.
He also standing in the shadows.
Impressive.
This man is a
Learning
Charvaka.
facility.
Charvaka means, in India, there are groups of
Oh,
people
boy.
who are known as Charvakas. These Charvakas are out and out
There it goes
materialists.
again. Why?
They don't believe
Sorry.
anything
Thank you.
other than what they can see. So this is an expert Charvaka. Whatever kind of believer you are, if you talk to him,
Sorry about that voiceover, guys. For whatever reason, there's a new update. It just launches a YouTube channel. It'll just launch some kind of entertainment. Windows does. So frustrating. Can't wait to get the new update, and hopefully they resolve that. So clearly, what it says here in the queue, everything you've learned is wrong. It's true. Göbekli Tepe is part of the Chinese pyramids, the Bosnian pyramids. The Bosnian pyramids are fascinating. The Bosnian pyramids are fascinating. The rocks and the vibration technology that is there, and the magnetic technology, ancient magnetism that's there is fascinating. And we don't study it, and all of radar science, academic science, academics. You guys are getting on my nerves more and more. They won't study it, they won't put any effort into it, and it's just individuals like us, just like people that you know, run-of-the-mill people that protect the lives of others, that run to the emergencies. They're the same ones that are exploring these things, such as Göbekli Tepe, the Bosnian pyramids, crop circles, the Nazca lines. The Nazca lines are incredible. You know what's also hidden about that's hidden by academic science about Nazca is that so many mountaintops in the Nazca territory have just been cut off, been flattened. Not geologically correct at all. And I mean, there's a lot of mountaintops in Peru, in Central America. They're just cut off. And the Nazca lines, somebody didn't do that for fun. They were communicating, trying to communicate to the giant airships that we see. And this is not nonsense, people. This is not nonsense at all anymore. Let's because we are talking starting to talk about ancient aliens. Let us again reestablish the authority of UFOs, of aliens being on this planet. This article, again, the more you study it, the more you just scratch your head and say, what are you saying, people? This is the article that I've been talking about Pentagon should release the UFO report, and the Senate Intelligence Committee argues. So the federal government is trying to get the general public aware of the unexplainable UFO activity that we have in and around American airspace. The twit that wrote this editorializing is just part of the problem that academics and modern education have put on society. Let me read this line again. Unidentified flying objects dash editorializing, a term that refers to objects that are literally unidentified. A millennial wrote that. A 40 or 50-year-old well-established writer would not write the word literally in a news piece. That is just childish. So you know it's not anybody of authority that's put that in there. It just can't be challenged because of the brainwashing that's been done to humanity. A term that refers to objects that are literally unidentified, not necessarily suspected alien craft. What? I mean, how can you say that? We're able to identify aircraft. This is not a problem. We identify aircraft all the time. In the military, outside of the military, if there are aircraft that we see, we're able to identify it. Now, if there's an aircraft that we are unable to identify, then it's usually something that's way far out. It's not something that has wings and makes airplane noises. It's something that is absolutely beyond explanation. I give you Exhibit A. This is one of the 3 videos released by the Pentagon, and it's called Gimbal. The reason it's called Gimbal is because the camera is mounted on a gimbal and it's able to turn really, really fast to keep up with the aircraft. So let me cue it up. Get that audio up and go.
Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not an LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotated.
So these are pilots. These are military pilots. They know aircraft. So that line by a news person, by a member of a reporting team, if the pilots can't determine it as being an aircraft and it's doing stuff that human aircraft can't do, it's okay. It's honestly okay to think about aliens. It is okay. But to editorialize and to put a lie into a piece of journalism is how the mainstream media, whatever side of the aisle they're on, has been brainwashing and doing the damage that you see on display throughout the Democrat-run states in the United States of America. You know, again, Antifa, all those groups, they're American-hating terrorist groups that are committing terror on the grounds on the soil of America, and it's only being encouraged because the political leadership of those cities and states are American-hating leftists. American-hating leftists that have a fundamental Marxist philosophy. So, yeah, it's that kind of this kind of editorializing that's part of the cancer of America and doesn't allow us to see the truth and keeps us asleep. So what's happened here is the committee supports the effort of the unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force at the Office of Naval Intelligence to standardize collection and reporting on unidentified aerial phenomenon, any links that they have to adversarial foreign governments, and the threat they pose to U.S. military assets and installations. The report says, any links to adversarial foreign governments. So, you throw that in there, and do these aircraft have any links at all to foreign governments? I mean, that should already be standardized and defined. If it's not, then it means that the source of the aircraft are questionable at best. And finally, my favorite part of this is the report must include details about what federal government knows about intrusion into restrictions of U.S. airspace and other unidentified flying objects, as well as a plan to firm up intelligence collection on sharing the subject. Well, if you have any intrusion into U.S. airspace, that's the domain of the Pentagon. If it's standard governments, if it's standard intrusion by airplanes of U.S. airspace, we don't need any extra work. That's the providence of the Pentagon, unless it's something more complex than that. And it's obviously something more complex than that. So this line should just be removed, because obviously we're talking about alien spacecraft. That's what has this. That's what has the usual stoic Senate Intelligence Committee rattled, and that's what has the White House also rattled, where they, the president released the information by the Department of Defense. And Department of Defense is just laying the groundwork for what's about to come out, that there are aliens. I mean, it's just as plain as day. So this is the April 27th re-release, because they did one of these earlier in 2020. No, actually, this is the one they did in April. But then they did one in 2019, in November of 2019, the exact same press release like this, that didn't get any attention, that got zero attention, and so they had to raise the visibility of it, and that's why they got the president to talk about it, and then got a reporter to ask the president a question, and again, nobody cares. One of the greatest things that the world should care about, and that is that we have visitors, that we have aliens flying in and around our planet, in and around our solar system, in and out of our sun. We can't do anything. We can't do anything about it. We can't wrap our heads around it, so we just kind of ignore it as we go. But these, and here in this link is the Freedom of Information Act that nobody asked for, but that the military felt compelled to to announce and talk about. And so here I'm going to download one of the videos. Again, this is the Defense Department, Navy, Naval Air, Navy, military. So basically, the Navy has been running the UFO operations. Here's his news. All right. So what he was trying to do, and I'm familiar with military activities, what he's trying to do is capture the thing that's flying so incredibly fast, very close to the surface of the water, with a box. And whatever he can capture in that box, the camera will follow. Here we go. He's trying to capture that. He sees it. All right, and they've just changed color on it to get because this is infrared radar, but it renders stuff in black and white depending on the heat signature that the item has. Usually, if it's hotter, it's whiter, and if it's cooler, it's darker. Again, these are military pilots. They know military aircraft. They know civilian aircraft. They know how aircraft behaves, normal aircraft with fixed wing or rotational wings. This what we've come to term as a tic tac, which is something that a lot of people have seen throughout the world. These tic tacs are the things that go really fast. They stop. They hover. They do just amazing things that no human-built aircraft can do. And then if you remember the last one that we just saw about 5 minutes ago, said there's a whole fleet of them off in the distance, but we didn't get video of that. But listen to the voice of these guys. I mean, this is not a common civilian or military aircraft.
Fox moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at the fly.
And this is just a clip. This went on for a lot longer and has those guys seen a lot more. All right, let's listen to the whole thing.
Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at the fly.
And this is called Go Fast, the clip. And the object is just going so fast, so close to the ground, it's so small, and it doesn't have any wings. It's just a tic tac. Wow, Tabitha, thank you for all the commentary. You are the bomb diggity. Tomato. So yeah, the Q is giving us a great resource of information, a place where we can centralize our ideas, and really get a chance to focus on things that are being hidden from us, and reteach ourselves history, reteach ourselves what's going on. So tomorrow evening we'll pick up back on Göbekli Tepe, and we're going to spend a little more time in this area than we will in other areas, because I'm very familiar with this area, and it just excites me. The time and effort that's been put into this and into the intellectual exercise that has gone to establish this. And I say often and often, it is not normal. It's not normal, and one person is not able to put all this stuff together in such a manner. And one person may be able to do something kind of like this with help, but a shaman who is connected to other powers and other areas, I can see them putting this together. I can see somebody that's very spiritually connected being able to pull this together and present it in such a manner. All right, so I try to keep the morning shows to a half hour, and then these evening ones to an hour. The Q is a worthy group of people, and I'm going to be working more to get to network ourselves in with the Q and the Q folk, and support our country and support our project, and get involved. And then there are two other areas of study that I'm interested in, but right now, since the COVID pandemic is still going on strong, and we have a lot going on in the geopolitical sense, we're going to stay focused on this. But tomorrow I'll talk about two other areas of study that I'm focused in on, and I'm going to make offshoots of the Breadcrumbs project. I know you feel rough, Tabitha, but again, you know very well that that you're not alone, and that through growth, achievement will happen, and rebuilding is a time. It's a time-consuming process, but when we build something right from the foundation, then we can grow and build it appropriately. So you are the bomb, diggity. Don't doubt it. And Graham, thank you so much. I know you're lurking in the background back there. And thank everybody. Let's see, I did get an email. Oh, it's probably somebody telling me that. Yeah. So I definitely I watch the email machine when I am online. And yeah, Tabitha sent me an email saying that the music was up, and that, yeah, it just popped in there. Windows, why did you do that update? All right, guys, no questions, no hiccups, no errors, except for that music popping up. I'll probably handle that a different way tomorrow. So, all right, folks, thank you so much for your stewardship, your help, your support, your guidance. In many ways, be sure to hit the thumbs up or hit the thumbs down, depending on how you feel about things. Express yourself, and either way, I appreciate your viewership and the traffic you give this channel, and look for things to kind of get busy towards the weeks ahead as I start to network the channel out there with different groups, and start to bring in different guests and folks, and I hope to talk to Partha and Angel towards the end of this week. I'll drop them notes at the end of the show, and do some work, and then I'll talk to you. Oh no, I'll talk to the folks that are members of the channel here in about 10 minutes. As I take a break, go grab a bottle of wine, grab the cat bowl, and then do our evening toast. Yeah, so we'll be doing that in 10 minutes. And just thank everybody oh so much for your support, your viewership, and those of you that get here early and wait for the show to come on. That means so much to me. Thank you so much. And then all of you that have been continuing to follow the channel, thank you. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your moral support. And yeah, watch for things to grow and for us to get really busy. I'm pretty excited about that. And in the meantime, think good thoughts, do good deeds, say good things, practice forgiveness, and have the best life. One of the best ways you can have the best life possible is through prayer and meditation. Meditation is prayer, and prayer is meditation. And through such focus and spirituality, life can change and great things can manifest. So, thank you LJ Tracks for this great theme song, and thank you everybody for watching. Bye.